Hi, my name is Carly Sensenbrenner, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I will be talking about what it means to have Saturn in your first house. So let's start by talking about the first house and what that means. The first house is all around your appearance, your mannerisms, your personality, how you perceive the world around you, experiences that you'll go through from an early childhood, and it really shapes your personality. And Saturn is the planet of, it brings lessons. It's about discipline, practicality, structure, and it makes things a little bit harder. Some obstacles can arise with Saturn, but Saturn is just there to teach you and help you to grow for something that you're here to work on. And so it brings a lot of discipline, and you kind of have to work hard at Saturn. So when you combine Saturn in the first house, that can turn out as someone who, first off, starting to talk about early childhood, it's someone who is born as a pretty wise old soul, and you'll see these children as children who are, they could be a little serious sometimes. They're structured and respectful to their elders. Usually they like to kind of dress nice and put themselves together nice, kind of like not old-fashioned style clothing, but just kind of conservative for the most part. But of course it depends on aspects in your chart and other planets that can balance you in a totally opposite direction. But for the most part, they like to keep themselves looking clean and tidy and well put together. And so these kids at a young age usually have a parent or parents around them who are pretty structured and encourage, routine and discipline in the child and responsibility at a young age. And sometimes with this lineup, someone with Saturn in the first house, they can be a little hard on themselves because even if their external environment isn't putting a lot of pressure on them to do things to the best of their capability, or they'll put a lot of pressure on themselves even internally if they're not getting that from a parent or from external sources. So they could be a little hard on themselves and a little self-critical at times. So they just have to watch out for that if they tend to do that to themselves, criticize themselves, or maybe if they don't get to something in time, they're really hard on themselves, and then they get into a lull or a depression a little bit. So just watching out for that. And let's see, so they have to pay attention to their physical body in this life, because if you believe in past lives, possibly in a past life they could have kind of neglected their body in some way and maybe not have paid attention to their body. And so whether it be through food or through exercise, it's just they didn't really take good care of their physical body. So in this life, just it's good to pay extra attention to your physical body and make sure that you do exercise and eat the healthy foods, because Saturn kind of never lets you get away with anything. And being in the first house is around your appearance and your physical body. So wherever Saturn falls in the chart, it's kind of like something that you can, it's kind of like a lesson, like it can make it extra hard for you to do something like that, depending on aspects, of course. But so just push yourself extra hard and work extra hard to keep yourself healthy and in shape. And Saturn can bring a lot of lessons from early childhood on, just to really work hard. And nothing seems to really come easy with the Saturn in the first house placement. It's almost like they really, these people really do have to work really hard, and then they slowly step up another level and step up another level up the ladder. And the harder they work, Saturn always rewards them. So these people are going to blossom usually in the second half of their lives. All the hard work that you put into this, to yourself, really. This is the first house of who you are, and just working on yourself, but also working extra hard, whether that be within a job. You're going to have to work a little bit harder, and you'll see the results the harder you work, but you can't really get away with anything easy. So don't, just watch out for impatience and kind of like ramming through something or trying to get something done really quickly, because it's always going to bite you in the butt, because it's just, you have to, like I said, you just have to work your way up there slow and steady, and you'll see the results for sure. So, just paying attention to your health and everything. So the second part of life, talking about, you blossoming, you might, maybe you hold off on marriage, or you don't find that right partner for a long time and feel like you're going to be alone forever. And then you tend to, in the second half, usually find a partner, a pretty mature partner in a way. Even if they're younger than you, usually the partner is going to have a maturity about them. And and blossom into marriage, or whether it be success in life. Maybe it's not marriage, maybe it's just, you gain more success. Either way, it could be all of this. You gain more success. And if you're taking really good care of your body and everything, Saturn preserves wherever it is. So once it matures, and it's, after 30s and 40s, you can actually in your face start to age really nicely as you get older. So you can see that someone with that Saturn placement, they might be aging, and then all of a sudden it kind of just holds their face, because the first house is appearance and all around the appearance, and it's like a fine wine, the way you'll probably age pretty gracefully, especially if you're loving yourself, taking care of yourself. And again, talk nice to yourself, because especially more so when you were a child, maybe you really could be self-critical, and hopefully you work on that over time if that is something that you feel. And appreciate yourself, appreciate the way you look, because Saturn being in the 7th house, it's like, it's a lesson, and it's like how you look. Maybe you feel like you don't feel as beautiful as someone else, or you feel like, I don't know, down about your physical body in some way, and kind of working on that internal process, if you do go through that, to heal and love yourself. And so let's see. So usually delays in marriage, and we talked about the mature partner, but sometimes this can be maybe that you marry someone who's much older than you as well, so that it can turn out like that too. And you put a lot of responsibility on yourself, so I would say just start rewarding yourself at times for all the hard work that you are doing in life, and the hard work that you are putting in to things. Try to do nice things for yourself, to reward yourself, to make yourself feel good. Because, just keeping it light, not getting so serious about life, because sometimes Saturn can get pretty serious. So something to lighten you up in that way of, yeah, rewarding yourself for all the hard work that you put out into life, and that will in turn make you feel really good, and you're giving back to yourself, which is nice. Also, sometimes, depending on your placements, but sometimes as a child, you might have gone through, you know, being bullied in some way. Some people go through this, and maybe it wasn't to the extreme, but just little bouts of bullying at different points in your life. And I know some Saturn placements that have gone through this and some that haven't, so it depends on your aspects. And yeah, so, and feelings of loneliness at times can come up, so that's another thing. So maybe if you do go through the feelings of loneliness, because it, having to work so hard for so long but not being able to see the really beautiful results until you're older, it can feel like a struggle and a little tiring at times. So that's why I was saying, be nice for you to reward yourself along the journey. Just know that as long as you're putting in that hard work, it's all gonna blossom. Everything's gonna feel good, and usually that second half of life is gonna feel really amazing. So I would love to hear your own experience on this placement, and what you've gone through if you have Saturn in the first house, and you can just write that below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and thank you for listening.